Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Um, Hope you're getting your week off to a good start. It is Martin Luther King Day, so that is a good thing to focus on. But and you have to excuse my nasally voice today, kind of congested. But Joss Whedon has officially broke his silence as it regards to the allegations that have been made against him in recent years. Obviously, things that came out about him working on Justice League reshoots, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, getting taken off of the Nevers as a result of all of those things. So this article is very long. I did go through it, but I'm not going to go through the whole thing on here. It's way too long. So it has just a ton of stuff talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, his career, Avengers, relationships, like a whole lot of stuff about his childhood, like just a lot of stuff. So I'm not going to go through all of that stuff. I just want to highlight the things that are related to the comments that he made about Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher. He does some of his responses in here to allegations against him on the set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer were also pretty shocking. So here, there's a lot of this, talking about working on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I personally never watched the show. I never really had much of an interest in that, but I know it was a very popular show. It had a big audience, and it's where a lot of his fan base kind of came from. And this article talks a lot about how fans had kind of like this worship-like love for Joss Whedon. And that's why, when all of these allegations started coming out, it was kind of like a big shock to people. People were offended by people making such allegations, But here's one account talking about wardrobe for one of the characters. I think it was for Michelle Gellar, Buffy's character. She said that the costume she wanted was a bit grandma-ish, referring to Gellar. A pleated skirt and a high neck. He definitely wanted it to be a bit sexier. On the day Gellar tried the different options, Whedon grew frustrated. I was like, Joss, let's just get her dressed. He grabbed my arm, dug his fingers in until his fingernails imprinted the skin. I said, you're hurting me. There's also another account here talking about how he berated a writer openly in front of the rest of the staff. I found this pretty disturbing. Firefly writer remembered him belittling a colleague for writing a script that wasn't up to par. Instead of giving her notes privately, he called a meeting with the entire writing staff. It was basically 90 minutes of vicious mockery. Joss pretended to have a slide projector and read her dialogue out loud, and pretended he was giving her a lecture on terrible writing as he went through the slides, and made funny voices, funny for him. The guys were looking down at their pages, and this woman was fighting tears the entire time. I've had my share of showrunners, but the intent to hurt, that's the thing that stands out for me now. So just other people sharing some of their experiences with him. There are some people in here that have said, I never really saw that side of him. I had positive interactions when I was with him, but someone up here said, I also, I saw kindness and good intentions, but I also saw the snarkiness, fickleness where I would not want to be on the other side. So there were people who didn't exactly see or encounter the complete harshness of his personality. There's a lot of other things in here. High-level member of Buffy production team recalled Whedon's habits about writing really nasty notes, but the thing that disturbed her more was having affairs with people, cast members. There in her office, she could hear them together and things like that. So there's just a lot of stuff. But his responses to some of these things are are pretty ridiculous. He says, I wasn't civilized back then. I was young. I yelled. Sometimes you had to yell because it was a young cast. And, it was easy for everything to turn into a cocktail party. He said he would never intentionally humiliate anyone. If I'm upsetting somebody, it will be a problem for me. The costume designer who said he grabbed her arm, he said, I don't believe that. I know I would get angry, but I'd never get physical with people. And then also talking about making out with an actress in the floor of someone's office, he said, that seems false. I don't understand that story even a little bit. He removed his glasses from his face, rubbed his face, said he should go to the bathroom, and came back and then said that that story didn't make any sense to him because he lived in terror of his affairs being discovered. So it's a little, I mean, it's obviously not very convincing when someone says, well, I don't believe that, when they're being accused of something. What do you mean you don't believe it? You're the person that supposedly was in the situation. You don't believe it? That doesn't make it. What kind of response is that? That seems false. It's about you. You would know whether or not it's true. Deflection. Talking about, he also responded to, Chris McCarpenter, how she had come out and shared a lot of her experiences with him, saying that he called her fat when she was pregnant and asking her if she was going to keep it. She got fired. He fired her after she had her child. So, yeah, just kind of, talking about people's different interactions with him over the years. Also talked about, the letter that his wife put out a few years back, talking about how his affairs and stuff like that. He expressed regret about those things, whatever. So here's where it gets into Justice League, kind of comparing the two completely different dynamics that Zach offered on set versus Joss Whedon. Kind of goes into the history of what happened with Justice League and why Joss Whedon was brought on and things like that. It says that, so part of that, two different dynamics on set was that it wasn't just that he wanted to impose a whole new vision on their work. He introduced an entirely different style of management. So Snyder had given the actors exceptional license with the script, encouraging them to ad-lib dialogue. And we've heard from several of them that, he takes into account, what do you think about this? How would you want to do that? Is there anything you'd like to do differently? He takes into account how the actors what did they think about this? We didn't expect them to say their lines exactly as he had written them, which he kind of has a reputation for being very nitpicky about that kind of thing. That didn't go well at all. One crew member told the author, some actors criticized his writing. By Whedon's account, Gal Gadot, who played Wonder Woman, suggested that he, the director of the highest-grossing superhero movie at the time, didn't understand how superhero movies worked. At one point, Whedon paused the shoot and, according to the crew member, announced that he had never worked with a ruder group of people. The actors fell silent. The actors, at least some of them, felt Whedon had been rude too. Ray Fisher, goes into Ray Fisher's accounts here, what Ray Fisher had to share about him. Snyder has centered the film on his character, the first black superhero in a DC movie, and he treated Fisher as a writing partner, soliciting his opinions on the film's representations of black people. Whedon downsized Cyborg's role, cutting scenes that in Fisher's view challenged stereotypes. When Fisher raised his concerns about the revisions in a phone call, Whedon cut him off. We remember this if you have followed this story over time. It feels like I'm taking notes right now, Whedon told him. And I don't like taking notes from anybody, not even Robert Downey Jr. So I remember him sharing that as well. Gadot didn't care for Whedon's style either. Last year, she told reporters Whedon threatened her and said that he would make her career miserable. Whedon told me he did no such thing. I don't threaten people. Who does that? His responses are so ridiculous. He concluded she had misunderstood him. Here, just wait. Ready? English is not her first language, and I tend to be annoyingly flowery in my speech. He recalled arguing over a scene she wanted to cut. He told her jokingly that if she wanted to get rid of it, she would have to tie him to a railroad track and do it over his dead body. Then I was told that I had something about her dead body and tying her to a railroad track, he said. Gadot did not agree with Whedon's version of events. I understood perfectly, she said in an email. Why wouldn't she understand perfectly? English is not her... I think of all the things in this article, that was the thing that got me the most right there. Talking about how English is not her first language, somehow insinuating that she didn't understand. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She understood that you're a jerk and a piece of crap, that you treat people like crap. As for Whedon's claim that he doesn't threaten people, an actress on Angel told me that he hadn't that hadn't been true back when she knew him. After her agent pushed for her to get a raise, she claims Whedon called her at home and said she was never going to work for him or 20th Century Fox again. Reading Gadot's quote, she thought, "Wow, he's still using that line." Of course, he denied that too. So this goes on to talking about how the Snyder Cut came to existence by the fans and everything like that. I want to get to where he said, what about Ray Fisher? He talks about here, that they had talked about the changes that were going to be made to Cyborg's character in length together, and that they had, positive and respectful conversations about it. But he said here, Whedon says he cut down Cyborg's role for two reasons. The storyline logically made no sense, and he felt the acting was bad. Where? He was also stunned by the fact that, Fisher said that he had lightened their skin color. He said that I made the whole movie lighter. Yeah, and ugly. He said that it was false and unjust. And according to a source familiar with the project, Whedon wasn't alone in feeling that way. A test screening, viewers deemed Cyborg was the worst character of all the characters in the film. Are you kidding me? He had the most positive response when Snyder Cut came out. So I don't buy that. That sounds like some WB work to me. Yeah, so he said that despite that, Whedon says he spent hours discussing the changes with Fisher, that their conversations were friendly, respectful. None of the claims Fisher made in the media were either true or merited discussing. So why didn't you come out and say anything sooner? He can only think of one way to explain Fisher's motives. There comes another one. Ready? We're talking about a malevolent force, he said. We're talking about a bad actor, in both senses. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Just go on Twitter right now and see how people are, again, praising Ray Fisher's performance in this movie and the restoration of his character story. That was one of, if not most, one of the things that was talked about most when this movie came out, and not just by Snyder fans. No. Everybody. Okay? Everybody. So, he's full of it. That's all he had to say. That's all you could do is try to attack his talent and his character. No, okay. Because what else is he gonna say? There's nothing else for him to say. Oh, that it was completely false and merited. So everyone's wrong. Everyone's false. Everything. They all just out to get you. There's a conspiracy against you for what? He was if you read this article, it talks about in the beginning how he was such a well-liked actor. That's why people, when all of this stuff started coming out, people are like, what? How dare you? Because he had a really big, strong fan base. And so why would all these people just be out to attack you? It doesn't get that. People who have said, oh, Ray Fisher's a liar. He's just doing it to get clout. And that's the absolute worst way to try to advance yourself in Hollywood or make a career for yourself. Talking out against directors and stuff and filmmakers, especially ones that are well known and have a large fan base, why would you even do that to yourself? That's not going to help you. So no, that argument doesn't make any sense. And then this here talks about the argument too that, he was doing Snyder's bidding and they were in this cahoots together to get Snyder back in. How would that even help? WB knew what they wanted to do a long time ago, way before this all even happened. So no, they wanted Snyder out a long time ago. So that wouldn't have even worked in the first place because WB clearly has no interest in that. But, their hand was forced when it came to the Snyder Cut because AT&T is like, hello, we're putting this out. Sorry. This man's finishing his movie. They weren't in cahoots, okay? Snyder didn't know what was going on. He wasn't there anymore. He was there for a while when Joss came on and was kind of like, okay, I guess so. I'm open to it. He was professional about it. He didn't know all this crap that was going on after he left. Come on, people. Oh my God. Okay, so, it just kind of goes on to describe his reaction to the whole thing. So here he says, once someone lights a fuse and people see there's a flame, they run to it and throw stuff into it. One person in Whedon's circle said. So it doesn't say Whedon said that, but someone around him. Snyder declined to be interviewed. Um, so, yeah, I was made a target by my ex-wife. He said in our conversations, Whedon was somewhat circumspect. I don't know who started it, but I know in whose name it was done. Because Snyder fans were attacking him. You think? You butchered his movie. Um, so this goes on to talk about his wife and all of that stuff. So I just wanted to kind of highlight those things. Kind of turned into a long video, but felt like it was worth discussing because this has been such a huge topic it's been a huge topic the past couple of years, and I feel like all Joss Whedon did by opening his mouth in this interview is just prove that he is what he's been accused of. He hasn't. It's not like, oh my God, wow. That doesn't seem like the kind of person he is at all. Yes, it does. Just his responses to these things are ridiculous and hold no water against the things that he has been accused of. So, I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. It's just like the things that he had to say about Gal Gadot and Roy Fisher are ridiculous. Those are your responses, really? Those are what you have to say. Insulting her intelligence and insulting him further, his talents and him as a person. That's all you have to say? Okay. It's not helping. You're not helping yourself by saying these things, okay? So I just wanted to share those things because to me some of it was pretty shocking. In a way, yes, and in a way, no. I'm actually kind of surprised that he came out and said anything. People have been commenting on the fact that it's kind of unfortunate that this dropped on Martin Luther King Day. Ray Fisher did respond on Twitter. He had said that you know what, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. Let me pull it up on my phone really quick, because my screen recorder is not going to transfer to the other tab. So he just said, looks like Joss Whedon got to direct an Endgame after all. Rather than address all of the lies and buffoonery today, I will be celebrating the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Tomorrow the work continues. So if you follow him on Twitter, that's what he said. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. Yeah. No arguing in the comment section, by the way, please. I won't respond to any of those kind of things. But yeah, crazy. So thank you guys for watching, and check out the links in the description. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for the continued support. We will see you soon. Thanks, guys.